I hear everyone complaining now about the wireless.
What's your name again?
My name?
My name is
Pish Rogues, hosted by Luke Conroy and Cathal Bergen.
Ever since I can remember, my elders have been bemoaning the fact that the old skills, the old trades are fast disappearing. And the one they talk about most sorrowfully is the blacksmith. Now, just think of all the...
Finvara and the Blacksmith. There lived a blacksmith named Thomas Hughes in Craic, Kilkerran, in the county Galway. There were 7 generations of the Hughes family blacksmiths. This particular Tom Hughes was called late one night to put a shoe on a horse for a benighted traveller. Hughes did not wish to get up so late at night. He told the traveller that he had no nails and that he could not put a shoe on the horse. At that time, the blacksmiths used to make their own horse nails. He had some left on top of the bellows for another man that had not turned up. The traveller told him that there were nails left on the bellows for another man and that these nails would do for him. He also told the smith that if he did not get up and put on the shoes, that he would be sorry. The smith now guessed that he was not dealing with a natural man. We don't have a natural man on our hands.
This is no normal man.
He got up and set about putting on the shoes. The stranger told him not to take notice of anything. The horse seemed somewhat different to any horse Hughes had shod to this. When the shoe was on, the stranger asked the charge. But the smith replied that he never charged a poor man on the road and that he could not charge him either. The traveller told the smith that he was Finvara from Knockma and that he was in command of a troop of Fairies soldiers on their way down to County Longford to fight another Fairy army. He asked the smith to come outside on the road and that he would show him his men. He got the smith to look through a ring and he saw hundreds of horsemen in battle array awaiting the word of march from Finvara. Finvara had another living man in his troop too, for they could not fight without him. This man was asleep, but when the battle would be over, they were to leave him in his own bed again. He would only think he was dreaming. It was a custom that they should have a living man on both sides to start a battle. They would not commence the battle without a living man. The blacksmith now wished Finvara and the troop good luck, and he said he hoped they would return successfully. Finvara said that they would give the smith word of their success or defeat on their return that night. On their return, they shouted through the window to the smith that they were victorious. Woo! Yay! It happened that Finvara came the same way another night. He called Hughes to put on shoes on his horse. Hughes knew the voice and he had no hesitation in getting up this time. He put on the shoe all right and Finvara asked the charge. The smith told him, as before, that he never charged a man on the road and that he would not charge him now. Finvara told the smith that he would not have that this time, that he shod the horse before and did not charge.
I will pay you now,
said Finvara, and make a rich man of you if you keep it secret. He gave the smith a small purse and said that the smith could take 2 gold sovereigns every time he wished, but he was not to tell anybody living about it. The smith soon became a rich man, and his wife wanted to know where he was getting all this gold. The smith kept his secret, and his wife kept nagging all along. Like all women, she wanted to know the story. Okay. At last, he became so annoyed with her that he told her the story in full. He asked her not to say anything about it. But the next time that he opened his purse to get some money, he found only 2 withered olive leaves in it. The blacksmith was a sorry man then that he had not kept Finvara's secret. He never saw the fairy horseman from Knockma again. And that collector was Or O'Connell, address Kilkerran, County Galway, informant Thomas Brennan, aged 72, and his occupation was a smith, address Annabeg, County Galway, and as always, all our stories come from Dukas. Dukas.ie, from the National Folklore Collection. Non-spawn. No spawn. Hello! And welcome to the Pish Rogues podcast.
I'm Cathal Bergen.
And I'm Luke Conroy, and we're going hammer and tongs today in
Bing
the forge.
bong bing.
Bing bong bing.
We're getting our horses' boots on.
Have you ever been in a forge?
I've never been in a forge, no. Have you been in a forge?
I haven't either, but towards the end of the podcast, we'll tell people there are places you can go for a traditional Irish forge. You
Forge
get an insight.
experience.
Yeah.
You've heard about the village smithy in your day. The small boys standing in the doorway, their eyes agog as they watch the smith, that mighty man, and the smells, the smell of horse and sweat and leather.
If we wandered into an Irish settlement 1,000 years ago and we wanted to find the social hub of the area, we wanted to figure out the news, figure out what's happening, who's in charge, who's dead, who's been cheating, where we would go is the forge. The forge in Irish, the cearca.
The cearca.
Uh,
Workplace of Gova.
Yeah, and the blacksmith is the
blacksmith.
gova. It was the, I don't want to say it was the pub of the time, but you know what I mean? It was the community centre.
I was thinking of what is the more modern equivalent. And the only thing you think of is pub, but they had a pub. But it's when people are coming together with practical needs and all of sober mind as well.
Yeah.
I'm thinking, where is that? I don't know if we have it.
Facebook.
Is it Facebook? Is it the WhatsApp group chat? Is it... I suppose it could be... Maybe it's more sport orientated. It's GA clubs. It's watching the match. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't think we have a practical equivalent.
Maybe it's been more segregated now, because the way one person I saw describe the forge was as the newspaper, as in
Okay.
it was the social newspaper that everyone from the top echelon of society to the bottom, they all needed the services of the blacksmith, but everyone needed tongs, pikes, and weapons.
Gates, yeah, for farming, machines are broken. You need to get to the blacksmith immediately.
Like everyone had a horse or a working animal, or if you had a bit of bob, you did. And you would need to go there regularly. You're, Jesus, me horse, I've broken down.
My horse isn't working. Murphy's Forge. The only forge in this district is Murphy's Forge, situated about a quarter-mile west of the village of Meleen. It was built by the present smith's father, who came from a neighbouring parish where his own father was a blacksmith also. The last member of blacksmiths whose forge was in the village emigrated to America about 50 years ago. The new forge is built on the roadside, consists of one large apartment, having 4 windows and one very large forge door. It is roofed with rafters of bogwood and thatched with rushes. Near its one fireplace is the large bellows, and in the front of the fireplace is a block of wood on which the anvil rests. There is a large vice inside one of the windows which the smith uses to hold things. There is also a barrel of water on the floor which is used for cooling hot irons. There are numerous old horseshoes and scraps of iron scattered all over the floor. The smith makes shoes for jennets and donkeys and shoes them. He also makes iron gates and repairs various kinds of agricultural machinery. His chief work in the open air is the banding of wheels. For this purpose he makes a large fire of turf some distance from the forge to heat the iron bands. When they are red hot, he sledges them onto the wheels. In the summer he shoes horses outside. In former times people came to the forge to hear the latest news and to discuss politics. In those days when people could not read or buy newspapers, they used to come by to the forge to hear the weekly paper and read. There is an old story in this district about St. Lateran and a blacksmith in Cullen, a village about 10 miles away where both lived. Every morning the holy woman used to go barefoot to the forge for the kindling of her fire in her apron.
What? The holy woman.
A belly full of fire. One morning, the smith made a complimentary remark about her feet, which caused her to commit the sin of pride.
Kinky man.
Immediately her apron took fire, and filled with remorse for her sin, the saint put a curse on the forge and prophesied that never again would the sound of an anvil be heard in Cullen.
Collector there.
Katie McAuliffe, informant Dennis McAuliffe, and address Meleen, Cork.
That story, even though I sourced it, I forgot the turn it takes at the end.
Yeah. The little,
What did he say about her feet?
Yeah, he
Nice
said
feet.
something lovely. It
Lovely
actually
feet.
reminded me of Bolivia. I did a tour in La Paz in Bolivia, and the women, the men desire the women's thick calves. It's something they find very intriguing, and it's respected by the community.
And
she has lovely calves.
Did you notice thicker calves?
Oh, for sure, yeah. And I mean, it's very high altitude, and they'd be going up and down slopes. So I wonder if it's a a quality of health.
Well, I love changing beauty standards. You look back in the day where, I don't know, big broad shoulders because I need water carried or something. I don't know. Oh no!
So
Don't be looking at me feet. The one day I don't wear my shoes. And yeah, I love that idea that maybe that it was a literate person would read the paper. People would be like, I have to get down to the forge.
Yeah, and I suppose it takes this takes a long time, so you might be there for a few hours.
Yeah, reading through all the bits.
Yeah, or just chatting to people and they know everything. So
the fact that he was fixing various types of agricultural machinery, it must have been interesting as a blacksmith to like have to move with the times.
Yeah.
Particularly, it seems that it was quite a generational, which makes sense because you train up your son in it. That you're like, damn, we've moved on. I have to move with the times. I can't just be doing horseshoes and wheels. I have to figure out, what is a 2-stroke engine? And then eventually, obviously, it died out with time. I just love this person's description of like, if you go in, you'll see all the little bits of scrap metal on the floor, and there'll be the tinking away of them.
And the big forge door, because you have to bring in carriages and stuff.
Yeah. Plows, pikes, spades, rats, and cures.
Lovely.
There are 2 forges in this parish. The name of the smiths are John Frawley and Christy Howard. There was a smith in the parish before them, Johnny Griffey. One forge is at the entrance to the village, and the other is in the centre of the village beside the post office and opposite the school. One of them is slated and the other is thatched. One of the doors is big and wide and the other is narrow. There is one fireplace in each forge. The bellows set in at the back of the fire. There is a chain hanging from a crook which is attached to the bellows. When you pull the chains, the bellows blow. One of them is a very old one, and it was made in the parish. The implements used by the smith are a sledge, an anvil, a tongs, a pincers, a rasp, a file, and a vice. He shoes horses and asses. He repairs ploughs, harrows, spades, shovels, forks, and hatchets. He makes gates, he puts hoops on wheels, and he turns scythes. He repairs machinery and puts hoops on wheels out in the open. The forge water is used for curing chilblains when stolen unknown to the...
So you have to rob the water. The forge water is used for curing chilblains when stolen unknown to the smith.
Dennis Curtis Smith Kilnaboy used to banish rats and stop bleeding in any cut or wound, no matter how severe it was. What? There used to be stories told in the forge long ago. There were pikes made in Frawley's forge for the 1916 Rising.
Wow.
A smith in the desert named McInerney made pikes for the Fenians. Location, Rouen, County Clare. And the teacher is Sean O'Leardon and Bríd Nindiawan. Damn, were they using pikes during 1916?
I wonder if the Brits had a particular watchful eye on the blacksmiths back then. Because they might have been, I don't know, making pikes or all sorts.
Well, funnily, I remember when I worked in Kilmainham, they were saying that bike shops were really, it's something I'd like to cover at some point, bike shops were really handy during the War of Independence because they had all the elements you would need for grenades. Like a spring was needed and ball bearings and different things like that. But yeah, I wonder similarly would they have to cover it up, the likes of that. The chilblains too. I remember, funnily, my housemate at Chilblains, he was from a different country and he wasn't used to the cold and he was doing all of the stuff wrong. He went, like, his feet were in a bad way. And that's what Chilblains is like. It's to do with constricting and retracting blood vessels, like too much in your feet. And he was comfortable in walking around in flip-flops around the house, even though it was fucking freezing. And then in bed, because he found his feet were so cold, he then was wearing like 2 pairs of socks in bed. But then the doctor was like, that's the exact
opposite of what
he was like, your feet are freezing all day and then you go into bed and you heat them up like way hotter than you should. He's like, wear socks out of bed and don't wear your socks.
Be normal.
Just
do the normal
what the hell is, yeah. But
look around. Everyone wears socks during the day.
I wonder if it was the water and why does it have to be stolen?
Yeah, that's what I found really interesting. Like, I suppose, is there a reason why they would be like protective of the water, the forge water? I don't know.
I wonder if it's that good.
Yeah,
because there must be something. I can imagine why the forge water was handy for cures, because if you're constantly dipping hot iron into it, it might like ironize the water.
Yeah.
Maybe there's, you know what I mean? So maybe he would be like, I've been working on that forge water for ages.
I love it.
Yeah. No, you're not allowed it. This is so, I've been taking this for ages.
And it's like stealing magic, like I think that maybe we'll get on. There's going to be future stories about it. But yeah, I mean, if you're using that water and it's somehow this liquid is bending the metal and curing and hardening it, I don't know, something magical, a magical quality to it that you have to rob it.
It's like an alchemist.
He wouldn't be giving it away. He's an alchemist. Just they're talking about like the thatched roofs and stuff. It's funny because I know if you have a thatched house, you have to keep a fire almost going 24/7.
Really keep it dry and
Keep it dry. Yeah.
Oh, because my worry, and I don't know enough about thatching, was like, oh, feck, a big open fire, and I didn't think, but obviously they can light a fire, and I was just afraid of it going up.
Yeah. But I think if you have an old school one, you have to have a fire going all the time. That's where the saying was it raining cats and dogs. It comes from when it was raining outside, the cats would crawl into the roof of a thatched house, and then eventually they would fall through the roof.
Really?
Yeah.
That's really fun.
That's a saying I've heard. Yeah.
Yeah, we'll see more of this, of the idea of Smiths being able to banish rats. I think there might be a practical reason as to where this rumor started from. But the stopping bleeding, I'm going to spoil it straight away. I do wonder, he has just so much hot metal and stuff. I wonder if he was able to just singe closed wounds. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Would that be
maybe.
bad? Like just put a hot iron to your
Yes,
wound
that
and
way.
just stop it?
Brandish you.
No, it's a community centre.
Yeah.
They banish rats.
Yeah.
Cures chilblains. It's such a bizarre mix of like, he wears a lot of hats. So as we said, it became the community's unofficial newspaper. When you think about it, people would also have to wait a while for work to be completed. So you might have came in and were like, I need this, and then you just have to chill out. It's the same as I've had it recently without going into my woes, going into a tech shop. I have to wait for the guy to fix my damn phone. You start talking to random people that are also waiting. Maybe the tech shop is the new
Blacksmith.
Smithy. Yeah.
And maybe a dentist or something. Although they always have fucking like Dr. Phil or Jeremy Kyle on in my dentist. I don't know if you have that memory. Or Judge Judy, and you all just stare in a grey haze watching Judge Judy.
Jeremy Kyle. What's he doing now? And I didn't think of that because you might be chilling in the Smiths and he could be like, wow, yeah, Traveller came from Meath the other day. You know what I mean? I needed his shoes on his horse. And he said, Johnny Gilhooly is dead.
He had a whole army with him.
Yeah, exactly. And they're heading to Dublin.
It was crazy.
But yeah, and also if you wanted to deliver information, allegedly announcements, this eventually, because the Forge just became this place that you knew information circulated through, you could then decide, oh, I'm actively going to go. Me and the wife are getting married.
Yeah.
So I go down and tell the Smith.
And they'll just
like,
pass
they'll
on the
pass it on.
information.
And I imagined, I couldn't find anything to do with this, but if you wanted to start a rumour, I was thinking the Forge would be a good place to start. I'm going to forge a rumour in here.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of lore and stories related to it, and a lot of exciting, interesting things coming out of the Forge. But it's a practical workplace. At its centre there was a fire, usually a small clay furnace, fuelled not by coal but by wood or charcoal, which produced the intense heat needed to work iron. I'd imagine turf would have been used as well.
For sure. I mean, I mentioned in the story previous that.
Air was forced into the flames using leather bellows, and in Irish they'd be known as bulg, meaning bag, which is quite cool because your stomach is your bulg, your belly.
Yeah,
It's just your
bag.
Me bag. It's me
belly bag.
Me skin bag.
Yeah,
me
me
belly
skin bag. Me food bag.
These bellows were surprisingly advanced. They used two chambers. One could fill in with air while the other emptied, creating an almost continuous blast of air into the fire. Versions of this design survived in parts of Ireland until relatively recent times. From these basic tools came the objects that allowed everyday life to function in Ireland, from farming equipment to weapons and household goods and tools. So, Cathal, where did they source their iron? Where were you going? Where were you finding them?
I'm going straight to the bog.
The bog?
There's iron at the bog, lads. It's rising up from the bog. So bog iron is a type of sedimentary rock formed by iron-fixing bacteria in bogs and swamps. The iron precipitates from the groundwater and accumulates in the wetlands. It was incredibly practical for early smiths to gather because...
1.
It's accessible. It could be found in shallow waters and near the surface across every part of Ireland.
2.
Renewability. Unlike deep vein rock mining, bog iron is naturally replenished over just a single generation as the groundwater flows through the peat.
And 3.
It's super high quality.
That's surprising to me. The term bog iron sounds like it's going to be...
It sounds like it might crumble apart.
Oh, I'm using bog iron.
Yeah. Fuck.
But yeah, it's remarkably low in phosphorus.
Yeah.
For some reason, that's good. It's a major advantage. Oh, phosphorus makes iron brittle. Consequently, it yielded highly workable, high-quality iron and steel that was prized. But I love this idea that I bet, too, if you were gathering turf from the bog, you could just get everything from there. I get my turf. It makes fire.
Yes.
And then I get I extract the bog iron. And I do that,
And
too.
I think it was saying in another source that it doesn't rust very easily, which is very interesting. Yeah.
Mamma mia.
Yeah. So it's you want get your Irish bog iron, and I never knew this. It's quite cool, isn't it? I didn't know that we'd be getting metal from the bogs. But it's interesting that it rises up, like it's renewable quality, that it's almost giving it to you yearly. But I suppose it's another reason we started to harvest the bogs even more.
Yeah.
So
We were hell for leather into it.
So we get into another story here, I
Stories.
suppose.
Read me a story.
This story is called The Three-Legged Horse. A blacksmith named Cunniff lived in Cornamady. One night about 12 o'clock, a knock came to his door. On opening it, he found a man standing there with a horse. He asked Cunniff to shoe his horse, but Cunniff refused as it was too late. No. The man craved him to shoe his horse. Craved him. Please. And Cunniff finally agreed. He then discovered that the horse only had 3 legs. When he had finished, the stranger gave him no payment. He said he was going to a battle in Valleys Round. His side won, the blacksmith's trough would be full of gold the next morning, but if he lost, the trough would be full of blood. When Cunniff went to the trough next morning, he found it full of blood.
And that story was told to this person daily by his mother. And now that story is from Athlone.
It is.
And it's from a place called Hill. I'm going to edit out what that is. But it is the name of the hill where this guy's from.
Otherwise known as
Bunch of Twigs Hill.
A Bunch of Twigs Hill.
Now,
Yes.
I don't know how or why it's called that. I'd imagine there could have been pyres up there of fire.
Yes.
Pyres of fire.
But that's not as...
But me and Cathal can't say that word.
No.
So we'll leave that to your imagination.
Yes.
Maggot Hill. Here we go.
That's it.
Yes, come back, you blacksmith.
There you are.
Yeah.
You blacksmith.
Will I read you another real?
That must be a weird... It's like a strange waking up at Christmas, you know. I'm going to get up. I'm so excited. So there's been a war going on. You come down to your trough and it's just full of blood.
You see, I was
That's worse
almost...
than coal, like. It's usually
all
coal.
the bad kids wake up to a trough full of blood.
God.
I was really, for some reason, the beat of that story, I was just expecting it to be gold. I was like, oh,
Yeah. This is going to be class.
didn't go well. So
Yeah.
it hit me for a punch. And then when I figured out where the story was from, I was like, this is full of surprises. This went from one thing to the next.
So he didn't pay this man, and this man wanted to be paid.
He wanted to pay.
Compared to the last story, he was like, where's me fucking money?
And I wonder if there's a bit of telephone Chinese whispers in this, where there seems to be that opening story with Finvara. There's an old myth that I wasn't able to find, like the acute, like the nodal story of, but it's obviously in the collective conscious of a seemingly fairy man arriving to the house around midnight. Blacksmith, oh, I'm tired.
I'm sleepy.
Something makes them go out and do it. During it, usually, I found a version of this before. We did an episode on will-o-wisps, which is very related to blacksmiths as well. Go check it out if you want to hear about that. But I think it was in that story we found where, it was always to the blacksmith's surprise, like, Jesus, this horse has 3 legs. And then between
You're
that...
going to battle with a horse with 3 legs. That's no good.
And he arrives to you at night and he might know some things that you shouldn't know. You're like, this
Guy,
guy's...
I mean, if someone's out and about at night back in those days, they're either going to battle or they're up to no good.
Yeah.
Or they're a fairy.
A fairy.
So,
And
who's moving around at night,
don't
Back
ask me,
then.
brother. I'm in bed by 4.
4.
Nearly my bedtime, actually. It's actually 7
It's my
minutes.
bedtime right now.
Yeah. Oh, sorry, Colin, I gotta go. But no, that's the usual thing. And then there's usually, as you say, some sort of like, don't pay him because you're like, this guy, I shouldn't do this. There'll be bad juju on me if I do this. And usually they get rewarded. And similarly, I found another one in that ilk. Pat Donnellan. was a blacksmith who lived in Dunmore some years ago. I knew him well. He was a quiet, hard-working, inoffensive man.
Inoffensive. That's
That's
a good description.
It's a good description, yeah. He was a well-educated man and had a daughter in the teaching profession in Dunmore. Must be proud. At the time of this story, she was an assistant teacher in Dunmore's girls' school. Tell me his life's work. The principal teacher lodged in Donnellan's house, and I have good reason to believe that it was from this young lady Owen Green's father first heard this story. Donnellan lived in a comfortable 2-storey slated house situated in Barrack Street, right in the centre of town. The story that goes one night at the hour of midnight, when all the household was in the land of dreams, the family were rudely awakened by a loud knocking on the front door. The smith arose, and in his night attire...
You're waking me up from the land of dreams.
I don't know, just this... What the hell? He's got one of those little hats on. He came downstairs to answer the knocker. On opening the door, he was confronted by a man, a complete stranger, that he never remembered to have seen before. The stranger at once asked him to put a new set of shoes on his horse. Donnellan pleaded that it wasn't right to go to the forge and start working at that unseemly hour of night, but his pleading was in vain, and he was at length reluctantly obliged to repair to the forge and shoe the horse. The stranger told him that he would be well paid for this labour, and in addition he stated that the smith would never have an occasion to regret having performed such an unusual task. It's ominous. When he was about to start, he observed that the horse had only 3 legs, and at once remarked that it would be impossible to shoe the horse. Imagine all the blacksmiths talking, being like, "Come here.
Yeah.
You ever shoot a horse with 3 legs?" They're like, "Yes.
Yes, I have.
Yes, I have. It was the weirdest night of my life,
Yeah.
brother." The strangers remarked that when the foremost shoes were on, he would hold up the animal for the smith, and that in this way the work could be performed. Oh. So the smith carried on with his work and succeeded all right in getting all 3 shoes on. The stranger then asked what was the charge, and the smith, being very nervous about this whole affair, said he'd charge nothing.
That's a good way to go about
That's
it.
a good policy. You
Yeah.
know what?
Good policy. This fellow, nothing.
Nothing.
Head off.
Oh, there's a tractor passing us here. We're recording in Kildare, by the way. It's beautiful.
Kildare.
I wish you were here. And you are. I'm in your ears. Kildare noises. oh,
That's a fine
this is
tractor.
a giant freaking
My
tractor.
God. That's huge. "Oh," said the stranger, "you must take a pound."
"No," replied the smith.
"Well then," said the stranger, "you will take the price of a drink."
"Very well," said the smith. "I'll take a shilling for a drink." And he was given the shilling, and the stranger then thanked Donnellan and immediately jumped on the horse's back and disappeared in the air. Does that mean he flew?
Yeah.
The blacksmith, frightened out of his wits, went home and told the whole story. He went back to bed and was ill for quite a long time. He eventually recovered, however, and was able to pursue his work in the forge. When he was sufficiently well to resume work, he did so, and he was never afterwards without a shilling in his pocket on arising in the morning, even though on several occasions, brackets hundreds of times,
Hundreds and hundreds of times.
he went to bed without a penny in his pocket. It was always the same in the morning. The bright silver bob was sure to be there in the morning, as sure as the sun was to rise.
That's lovely. And that's the
story.
perfect amount you want. Like, yeah, if someone gave you loads of money, you'd be thinking, "Oh, who's going to take it?" But to always just have one little shilling in
Where
your
am I going to
pocket.
put this?
Yeah, exactly, yeah. It's perfect. He's saving you on...
Waking up with pocket money. It's like celebrities you hear that give themselves an allowance. He just wakes up with his little shilling.
Yeah.
And
one little bit of bop.
I just love how all these stories, it's my favourite thing about this, that there was obviously a seed of this story out there somewhere. And then we see the first story we heard where the guy has gold replenishing in his pockets the whole while until he tells his wife. But then this story has the shilling. It's a bit simpler, but there's none of that, like him losing the money.
Yeah.
This is often a 3-legged horse.
And you don't have the details of him going to battle.
No.
Either. He's off.
And it might be
Into thin
just,
air.
it's hard to know when it's the storyteller's individual little flair where they're like, I'm going to add a fairy army to this. I'm going to
Yeah.
add a trot of blood.
Yes.
As
well. Or did it really happen? It is funny to think that when blacksmiths there's probably blacksmiths who met and maybe they had that experience.
That's what I'm thinking. Like, well,
If it did happen.
every blacksmith's met a
Yeah.
3-legged horse. And you're like,
Yeah.
brother, you better not ask for payment.
Yeah.
So this brings us on to magic. It was one of the main reasons I wanted to explore this topic. Because, as you mentioned earlier, Cathal, blacksmiths transformed raw unyielding bog iron into useful tools. They held a high status in ancient Irish society, and historically iron working was associated with magic. And at the simplest level, as we were saying, sometimes, like, I bet a skill that people couldn't fathom would just be envisioned as a magic art form. Like, if you were your average just farmer, labourer, and your dad said to you, run over to the blacksmith and get us some horseshoes, and you went in and there's this machinery that no one else has, these bellows and a fire that's just like oozing, and you see the red hot metal, you know what I mean? Like, it's quite magical.
Almost.
Even now, looking into a fire is magical, but seeing, if you've ever been lucky enough to see like red hot iron and seen it, like, it's an art form, so in some ways it is a magic.
It is.
But even wider than that, across Ireland and wider European folklore, iron was thought to repel harmful spirits or fairies. And the association may have helped strengthen the idea that the person who worked with this iron had some sort of special power. An 8th century Irish protective hymn even asked for protection against the spells of women, of smiths, and of druids. So all, as we know, wise women, ban fasa, associated with magic, and sort of some people would be weary of.
Strong magic.
Druids the same, and similarly smiths. I don't know if I have it in later, but there was this idea of like, oh, don't piss off the smith. I'd say 1, because of that magic fear, but 2, if you peeves the smith, like, feck.
Yeah,
I need a fork
heard that
fixed?
as well. Like, if you peeved him, I mean, that might be the difference between putting food in your belly.
Your belly.
You're a farmer, or your animal's doesn't have his boots on.
You have to travel out of town now.
Yeah, you have to head off. And people, maybe it was during Christmas, they'd all give him a bit of bob, or give him extra food or something.
I
Give
think
it
there
off
might
to the
be
blacksmith.
that. Yeah, you give him a
Because
little
you want to
gift.
stay on his good side. If you ever needed, I can imagine also the waking up in the middle of the night and not only having to go to work, but having to start a huge bellowing fire, and that's a lot.
Them themselves are stories of describing blacksmiths as giants, because they're just working with their hands all day. Like, there's no such thing as like gymming.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? You're just either genetically larger, or you have a
Huge
job
man.
like being a warrior or something. But the blacksmith was just constantly battering away at stuff, just
Roasting.
keeping a fire going. So they probably did have, this sort of lure to them, and then even the fact that they're making and they're getting rid of rats and different things. It's just a strange figure. One of the leading theories as to why, we've mentioned it in the past, like our very first episode about changelings, the way you kept a changeling away from the babies was to have iron tongs above the cot. If a changeling did get in your baby, it would be hot iron you would use to try and oust it. Nyang. And you'll see that, or even
Or
people
stab the
it.
baby. Yeah.
Or similarly, that's why people think that you would put horseshoes up around the house to keep fairies away. The leading theory, it's the one that I like, is that iron was just a symbol of the progression of human civilization, modernity. That many folklorists argue that iron represented the triumph of human technology over the older supernatural world, which is often symbolizes just the natural order, nature.
Yeah.
In Irish tradition, the Aishi, the other folk, they're portrayed as ancient beings that live in burial mounds, forests. They love things like gold. They love gold. They love tobacco, funnily. They like stuff we like, but they hated iron.
Yeah.
They don't like it.
I wonder if is that slight wisdom in some ways where they know what it can, it's iron is associated with swords and great big battles, isn't it?
It is. And even as these people point out, when we created iron tools, it meant we could clear forests.
Yeah, true.
Kill one another better than ever. So maybe, it was just showing this extinguishing. And funnily this is getting but like the creation of things like iron tools and this whatever, no more than the blacksmith having to then eventually become hip to how agricultural machinery work. Weirdly, like iron and earliest iron tools are like a precursor way down the line to just technology, like phones, atom bombs, you know what I mean, like guns. So the fairies naturally
There's definitely
don't like
an
it.
instinct. We all know that technology is the driver of power. Really, if you have the newest technology, you will ultimately gain a significant amount of power over other people.
And you are playing God, and you're standing in contrast to what existed.
Yes.
Like similarly, I'd imagine the reason fairies like gold is that you can find gold is very naturally occurring, that you can just pull veins
From
of
the
it
water
up.
and
Whereas this iron, you're literally rendering it out of mud and bog. There's also other things. People say Christian symbolism, that the likes of church bells were made of iron and different things like that, and it would have stood in contrast to the old way. What's the best way to watch the Odyssey? Well,
Odeon,
Odeon,
the lighthouse, IFI.
you need to get a sensory deprivation chamber.
Yeah.
Once you're completed tunneling 6 miles beneath the earth,
Yes.
then you must install the IMAX projector.
In with the senses that Christopher Nolan wants you to feel.
What's the most historically accurate garb and treats to be eating when you go see the Odyssey now? What kind of ale should I order before I go see the Odyssey?
I think you have to stick to the wine.
Wine.
The wine. And maybe cheese. You'd have to be eating cheese and grapes.
Hey guys, so I'm in Fallon and Byrne and I'm picking out a few little choice selections of treats I think you should have during the Odyssey.
During the Odyssey. So get your grapes. Do you like them with big seeds inside of them? Do you know those kind of grapes?
Well, those are more historically accurate because, as we know, it was bred out of the grapes.
It's organic.
You're going to need a friend with one eye.
Then when the Cyclopses come onto scene, give your friend a nudge and say, "Hey man."
That's like you. So, hey man, I didn't realize you were in the film.
Finally representing my friend with one eye. Gubon Sayer. There was a man in Ireland who used to build castles long ago. He was known as Gubon Sayer because he used to build them cheap. Gubon's name went abroad as a good builder, and the King of England sent for him to build a castle. He went over to England to build the castle. Gubon was 3 years building the castle, and the king asked at last, was he finished? But Gubon said he was not, that there was a fan to be put of it yet. Gubon told the king also that he wished to go home to Ireland for a tool which he needed to make, the fan. The king would not allow Gubon home, for he meant to kill him, so that no castle would be like his. So the king sent his own son. The king's son came to Ireland for the tool. He asked the woman of the house who was Gubon's wife and where the tool was.
It's in that box,
she said.
I'll get it myself,
said the king's son. Gubon's wife was as clever as Gubon himself. He was bent over the box getting the tool when Gubon's wife threw him in and put the lead on it. She wrote over to England, and she said she would release the king's son when her husband would return home from England. When the king heard that, he released Gubon, and the king's son was let back to England.
There we go, and the informant was Luke Costello. He's from Ballynastochon, County Galway. And I see that writer there slipped up over themselves a lot because they even said that it was Gubon's son, which would have been Gubon's wife's son as well.
Yeah,
so I don't know why she would have been throwing him into a box. But anyway, way back when we did an episode on the fairy cow, and there was a character in it called Goibniu. You could call him Govon or anything else. And similarly, he was sent to Tory Island he was asked for by Balor, the evil king that ruled over the Fomorians. And similarly, he was building I think they said like a tower of crystal. And halfway through, Govon realised he's not going to let me build this ever again. They're like, once I finish this, he's killing me. And the exact same thing, he just made up a ruse where it's like, I need to get my tool. I need to put a fan in your building for some reason. And it functions the same way.
You want this to be air conditioned, don't you?
Yeah.
Come on.
Roasting in here.
It's literally it's a tower of glass. It's going to be heating.
So Goibniu is the divine smith. So he was a member of the Tuatha De Danann. And he was the god of smithing, masonry, and brewing. And in earlier versions, as we've seen there, he was called Gubon the Sawyer or Goibniu the Joiner. So he's just the embodiment of craft. I wouldn't be surprised if at one point Goibniu existed, and whatever the thing, as we're reading now, smithing was like essentially, as we say, the tech shop of its time.
Yeah.
Maybe before that, you're like, wow, the carpenter, he's magic. He's the bee's knees. Or the mason. So he's just sort of the embodiment of human craft, as we've said. You'll find a whole host of interesting tales related to Goibniu. He made spears that never missed their targets, and he had crafted swords that wouldn't fail in battle. I think there's a story about the Tuatha De Dananns, the second battle of Moytura, and the idea is that they won, the Tuatha De Danann won because every time they were fighting and their swords would break, a messenger would immediately bring it to Goibniu, and he was able to like just
boom, boom, boom.
put it back together. So they just replenished
Kept
constantly. But once again, I wouldn't be surprised, as we said at the top of the episode. What's the title that we had for Smith's Govan? The Gova. I'd say the root word in Irish, there's this link. So even that fact that people would have tales and of myths of Govan and Goibniu, you know, these blacksmiths were almost like the children, the followers of this smithing god.
And even here they're talking about, you know, he's associated with the legendary ale of Goibniu, which is a drink to restore youth and vitality and grant those who drank it protection from sickness or decay. Reminds me of the kind of, you know, the water, stealing the water from the
His forge water.
Yeah, the forge water. Maybe that is the way the story has been passed down.
I wonder if Smiths brewed as well, or just similarly was Goibniu just like, once again, brewing is like a way where you're like processing natural material in a way we hadn't seen before, and same with blacksmithing. But it's just funny. It's a very enjoyable image to me, just that this guy that like, I'd love to hang out with Goibniu.
Yeah, just
like drinking and building
stuff. Yeah.
So we've sort of, you know, danced around the idea of the blacksmith's relationship to the supernatural. People would come to him. He was a practical figure that you would visit if you wanted stuff fixed. And in some ways, that's magic in and of itself. But also, stories just appear which has him doing stuff that's mysterious and supernatural. Like, why are people coming to him for cures? The stories of banishing rats. But people would go to smiths to solve problems other than broken tools or broken spears or whatever. Ordinary medicine.
Can you fix my marriage?
Please fix my marriage. Goibniu, please.
Right.
Well, you know what it
James.
is? It's a long time since I seen you, boy.
It is indeed. Well, now,
And by
James,
gee, there's many an old cow deed since.
it is indeed.
How are you getting on?
If you like the show, consider rating, reviewing, and telling a friend. You can now support the show directly on Patreon. Your support goes directly toward making Pish Rogues possible.
The majority of the stories you'll find about forges, there's sort of this passing hints of information that like they can do this incredible magical stuff, but it seems that it's quite shrouded in mystery, where the people themselves, usually on Dukas, they'll say, oh, and this is how they did it, and we get hints of that with some people, but it seems danced around instead.
The blacksmith is supposed to be able to cure rickets, blackleg in cattle, and a skin disease in children. The child suffering from rickets is placed lying on the anvil, and the smith makes the sign of the cross with the sledge over the child 3 times.
I'd be fucking terrified of
You
that. Sorry,
would be,
what the
yeah.
hell? There's just a big man waving
a sledge, and it's like what it used to just be this gooey, hot, molten metal. Like, oh, it's
Yeah.
mad. This had to be done on 3 different occasions. This cure was made about 30 years ago by a blacksmith named Johnny Gormley, Crumlin, Leitrim. The cure of the blackleg was also made by the blacksmith. A piece of iron was handed in silence to the smith, the iron heated and a hook put on the end, and the iron handed back in silence to the owner for the sick animal. Shh, has to be quiet.
silence.
No talking. There was an iron foundry in Swanlin Bar in olden times. The Irish name of the village is Anwillan Iran. The ore came back from Altcrook, a townland on the slope of a mountain in the district named Slieve on Iran.
Mountain of the Iron.
Mountain of the Iron. There are several mentions of iron in names of places around. One of the falls in the Claddagh River is called Asa Iran. There are several springs around which there are traces of iron ore on the water. Near Swanlin Bar there are spring wells in which there are traces of sulphur and magnesia and iron. The water is considered a great remedy for rheumatism.
Oh, location. Altacoulian, County Cavan. The teacher there is Bridget Martin. And it's something I've been long intrigued by. Slieve on Erin. This place it's come up in the episodes previous, I feel, but the Mountain of Iron. It's actually posted something on the Instagram recently of that's the 2 of the Danann were said to have landed on Slieve on Erin.
Oh, wow.
They whipped up a huge fog and they landed all their horses. They flew in it and then they fought the Fear Bulg in Ireland. But I find it funny, the idea of landing in Leitrim is gas. It's not what you'd expect in this day and age to be the start of this thing. And then similarly, don't know if it's worth doing, but maybe we'll do it sometime. Swannon Bar, used to be a hip place to go for cures of like people. get the good of the water, I think is the way they put it. So like even people would come over from England and stuff, and it was essentially a spa. Like you'd go in and try and get this natural water because they're like, oh, it's
full of metals.
It's full of metals and
seems,
irons. So once again, that probably ties into like if that's naturally occurring, then I suppose the only other way you could get it is in the forge water.
Yeah, it's interesting, and that's similar to the Sweeney story where they found, Mad Sweeney goes down. I think is it down to Kerry or something.
Oh yeah, and it's to drink
the water from around that area, and then they find that it's full of lithium, which is interesting. And lithium's a metal, isn't it?
Yeah, and I just don't know. Was it trial and error? These people found out like, oh.
Yeah, I mean, surely you just drink it and it's fucking good for the head, like.
For the head. Just now we need water treatment and all sorts.
I know.
Now there's poo-poo in the water.
Yeah.
As we say, poo-poo.
Poo-poo.
So as well as cures, there was curses related. Curses. So in a similar fashion to that poor boy, they say that the smith could use the anvil and manipulate things over the anvil while reciting secret words or incantations, and they could place curses on people. One tale tells of people gathering around an anvil and striking it repeatedly while praying for the protection against a landlord who's about to evict them. And another claims that a landlord died at the exact moment that a blacksmith turned the anvil against him. Wow. And what's interesting about these details, as we pointed out, Cathal, is that often the way they did it is just missing. Like they'll say, oh, he can do this. He can. Now we got a little one there of curing the kid with the sledgehammer.
Yeah.
But we don't really get the specificities a lot of the times on what they did. And I suppose it's because, once again, the smith was keeping this knowledge close to his chest. Don't even talk to me. Yeah.
Of course. Shush.
Shush, shush.
This is mine.
And I suppose it's because it's not smiths that are telling us these stories.
People don't fucking know either.
Yeah.
I mean, if it's not smiths, they haven't a fucking clue. Like, I don't know how they make how do they make an iPhone? I haven't a clue.
Corn and chilblains. So there are some local beliefs about forge water. It is said it would cure warts. Sure, everything seems to cure warts.
Of course.
You know what I mean? It would cure chilblains also. There is another belief that it would cure a toothache, and another one that it could stop blood. Long ago, the smiths did some small jobs for the farmers that he could not be paid for, such as putting a bolt in a plough or any other sort of small thing. In the end of the year, he might have a lot of little jobs done for them. Then, at the harvest time, they would send him a load of corn, and then he would have a very big threshing. But nowadays, the farmers do not send smiths gifts. So that's like you were saying, Cathal, that like he's doing little odd jobs for them, and you just know then, geez, we'll have to send him out.
Send them up around Christmas.
Yeah,
for the harvest season.
Got you a selection box.
Yeah.
The old people say that Matty Mansfield's father could banish rats by saying some words. The forge at the creamery is owned by Matty.
Fuck off.
Yeah, fuck off,
Fuck
rat.
off, rats.
Fucking rat. The smiths are always looked upon as very important men because in the time of war, they used to make the weapons. The people always go to the forges to listen to the smiths telling stories. Take me out tonight where there's smithing and there's
Stories
and there's
bright light
and rats.
rats running all around.
I never want to go home. Please tell me the news. I just want the news. And if a three-legged horse
Walks in the middle of the night,
don't accept the money, or you'll be in massive shite.
you'll have a bit of bob in your pocket.
And a trough of blood.
Blood and bob in your pocket.
There is a fire and it never goes out. Living attached forger. That collector is Michael Keane, addressed
If you
Kilmainham.
have warts, put your hand in the water.
He says some words and we don't know the words.
But the rats pick off.
For the rest, pick off. Michael Keane, Kilmeaton County. Is it? Remember Kilmeaton cheese? Is that still a thing?
That is a thing. It's probably in my fridge right now.
Ooh, John Keane. It was the informant, so I imagine it's Papa, also from Kilmeaton. So yeah, lots of different things. We gifts for them, and he's an important fella. He's an important fella.
People say that forge water cures chilblains and other sores. I know that it would cure them because I tried it myself. Okay, listen to this man. I heard people talking about a man who lived in Knockadderry. This man's name was John Mackey, and he was able to stop blood with a charm. He was a charmer. He was also able to pull teeth.
Very
I
impressive.
can do that as well. He did this by tying a piece of twine on the tooth and tying the other end of the twine on the pipe of the anvil. Oof. Then he would redden a piece of iron and point it at the person's face. And with the fear of the iron, the person would pull away and leave the tooth behind him.
Oh, no.
Wow. Long ago, people used to send gifts to the blacksmith, such as loads of corn. And when at the end of the year would come, the smith would have the biggest threshing. Happy days. He seems to deserve it. And he'd have loads of teeth as well.
Loads of teeth.
So that's so funny. He's almost like shooing you away with his hot.
It seems
metal.
like a strange, yeah. I thought he was going to blow the air. So I thought he was going to pull it out. The guy continues on there. In Knockadderry, there lived a man named John Mackey who had the privilege of stopping blood. My uncle, one of them, has the cure for bleeding. I don't know how it works. It seems I'm very dubious of that. There is one story about this man. The story is that one day the hunt was in Barriganore when one of the horses, in jumping the fence, his leg struck a rock on the other side and gave himself a severe cut. So they brought him to John Mackey and he stopped the blood. John Mackey cured the horse with a charm. The collector was Thomas Murphy there, also from Kilmeaden, and the informant was Miss O'Keefe. Do you think it's just heat? That's the only way I could think of stopping blood.
Yeah. I think, nothing. There's not much sense to a lot of these things, but maybe it's heat, yeah.
Similarly, I think the thing with rats...
If he has like some kind of, maybe with the water, hot water, and he's burning, maybe he'll end up with a fucking burn, but
yeah,
he can stop it. I don't know. I don't know if doctors out there thinking we're fucking idiots, but...
I don't know if there's actually a reference to it in the folk stories. No, I don't think there is, but I was just wondering if they just pour the hot forge water down the... I thought they did. Down
the rat tunnels.
Rat holes.
That would
just be... to be honest, just kill them. It's not It's not magic, it's just...
yeah,
I poured hot water down the hole.
All down. Yeah. It's crazy.
We only have fucking 2 more stories left.
Oh, God, that's quick.
I think we literally have this one now.
It is usual to see rats near a forge, and it is said that some of the old smiths had power to banish them. This charm was worked by placing in the forge a basin of forge water, and it mixed with some of the ashes of the forge. By some charm worked on it, all the rats disappeared. Long ago, it was customary for people who suffered from toothaches to go to the blacksmiths and get them extracted. The instruments used are a small suger to loosen the tooth, which had a sharp point and was driven down between the gum and the tooth. Then a common pincer was used to draw it. Blacksmiths are usually strong, able men with big, strong arms.
And I loved them.
That's from Margaret Nicholson, who had the goo for an old blacksmith.
She's from Janeville.
In Waterford as well.
Big smithing in Waterford. Lots of forge water in Waterford.
They do.
Waterforge, you should call
Waterforge.
it. Yeah. So there you go. The beliefs of forge water. It is said that Our Lady once lost the pin of her cloak, which she saw wrapped round the Holy Infant. She asked a cowherd for a thorn which would do for a brooch, but he said that he was too busy to look for one. She made the same request of a second cowherd, but received the same answer. She came to a forge and asked a smith to make her a pin. He took a piece of money from his pocket and bet it into the finest brooch that ever was seen. Our Lady took the pin, thanked the smith, and gave him her blessing. Ever since then, it is said a smith who washes in the water which has cooled his irons finds himself refreshed and made stronger. The location there was Dunbeacon, County Cork. The teacher was Thomas O'Folu. So that's lovely. It's very erotic seeing the forge, the blacksmith bathing in his own forge water.
Yeah, it is.
I can imagine back in the day.
He's so strong. This big, strong, strapping blacksmith covered in soot and...
Instead of the fireman calendars, it's just different smiths.
Yeah.
Holding a
lying
rat,
on his anvil.
pulling out a tooth.
Yeah.
Under a spreading chestnut tree, the village smithy stands. The smith, a mighty man is he, with large and sinewy hands, and the muscles of his brawny arms are strong as iron bands. His hair is crisp and black and long, his face is like the tan. Week in, week out, from morn till night, you can hear his bellows blow, hear him swing his heavy sledge with measured beat and blow, like a sexton ringing the village bell when the evening sun is low. The opening lines of The Village Blacksmith by Henry Longfellow describe a man and his trade. which now, alas, has almost totally disappeared from our countryside.
So for centuries, the forge, it remained one of the most important places in the community. You said Cathal in our break. That's the perfect example. Hairdressers.
Hairdressers, maybe, in terms of that kind of cross-class community space, where it probably is hairdressers in some ways, where the barbers always listen to people.
You're chatting.
People are chatting, you're waiting, you're listening to other people's stories while you're sitting and waiting. And
Might give you a bit of goss.
yeah, that's the only one I can really think of. There might be others. If you have any ideas, let us know.
But
I
of
want to
course, the world that created the forge, it changed. And so too did the times. So during the 20th century, horses, of course, were replaced by tractors and motor vehicles. And for a little while, we hear about them repairing agricultural machinery. But then as it advanced and there's factory-made tools become widely available, you don't need to go to the blacksmith. You buy it in a shop, hardware store. So the village blacksmith, which was once essential to everyday life in Ireland, slowly became a specialist. So I was thinking that I'd imagine a lot of smiths were like, oh, I'm going to become whatever, a mechanic now, or I'll become this or that. But you'll still see it in the name Smith.
Yeah.
How many feckin' smiths there were around the place.
I'm sure the ones now who, like the blacksmiths that are still going, they're probably just making, like, they're doing restoration pieces for maybe old carts, like horse carriages, and there's probably still a small market. You know, it's probably still there.
100%, and that it's now more of a craft. You don't need to be making nails. You could if you wanted
Yeah.
to, but you're like, I'm going to make a beautiful brooch for Our Lady.
She came down to me.
That's the sad thing of what we lost in the blacksmith. We lose that community.
We do,
hub.
yeah.
Instead
Once
of-
again, when you look back, there really wasn't much community spaces. It was just like, I'm going to the blacksmiths. You would talk because your life would be so intertwined with each other's needs. You need to go to this man out of necessity, and there's lots of other people who are there as well. And that is a sense of community. Whether you like it or not, you're going to have to chat.
Tell us. Drop us a message on the Instagram. I want to know what you think today's equivalent of the blacksmiths is, because I don't know if we've found it yet. I think the hairdressers, barbers is good, but I don't know what it is. Tell us, and we'll go there.
We will.
So forges you can visit. There's still some.
There's
still some out there. Maybe we'll head to ones ourselves. In Bunratty Folk Park, County Clare, one of Ireland's best known forges is there, and it's located within the recreated 19th century village at Bunratty. Doonashee Heritage Park, County Westmeath, a recreated rural heritage village, and once again it features a traditional forge. Larkin's Forge, you'll find the exact same thing, and then Boyne Valley Blacksmith in County Meath.
We'll add a little link here as well to there's videos, a brilliant TV series or documentary series called Hands, and it's on YouTube. They're all free, but they go through blacksmithing and the horse farriers. So if you want, we'll have the link in the description. I recommend watching them if you want more visual senses. Stimulation.
I don't know what a smith looks like.
Yeah. So Luke, what did any story pop out to you? Anything?
I think for me, the opening story, Finvara coming up, this sort of weird dance that the smith has to do of like not taking money. And I think it links funnily into, as we got towards the end, maybe it's symbolic of the good nature of the smith and fixing our little pins and our little different things, and then obviously we give them a gift back, the same way that Finvara gave him a coin a day in his pocket. I just love that.
I think that's mine as well, and it is, maybe that's a story that has passed down through blacksmith to blacksmith, and they see the wisdom in that story. If we do little jobs for the struggling traveller, it will be paid back in the end.
That's very true. I bet since it's usually like all the stories kind of said like, oh, there's 3 generations of this smith. I'd imagine if I was Papa Smith and I was trying to train up my little son, it's not just about training him in the tinkering with the metal. It's also telling him, hey, I'm going to tell you the story of Finvara. Give your neighbours some free help, and who knows? It might just come back to you.
Yeah, get the threshing at the end of the year.
You like corn, don't you?
Yeah.
Son. Guys, I hope you enjoyed gathering around with us around the anvil to hear these tales. Me and Cathal, we have to make a pile of pikes
Yes.
Pile
We're going
of
to put you on the
weapons.
anvil. We're going to get a hot rod.
World War III is on the way, and we've got lots and lots of
Work to do.
instruments of torture to construct. But in the meantime, enjoy the sun, if it's still there by the time this episode's edited. Enjoy that. If you need any rats banished, you know who to call. I'm going to lie back on the anvil now.
And I'm going to get my tongue.
You're going to... Whoa. Whoa. All right. Goodbye.
Goodbye.
And if a double...
Ding, ding, ding.
Music by Gareth Quinn Redmond. Photography by Alan O'Muraku.